Once again, this session will also be live streamed, so you can notify your colleagues, you can notify your friends to watch the stream from Transport for Jakarta's YouTube channel. Okay, we invite everyone back in and back to their own seats. I'm sure you're all warmed up by the drinks, and it's very nice, right? In this cold afternoon. Okay, may I have your attention, please? Just before our last session, Dina will help me in warming us up once again. So after the coffee, after the tea, we will warm our bodies up further before the last session with some jumping jacks. Let's go!
We could hug each other, but we all have space bubbles.
Yes, we understand that this room is like Cameron Highlands right now. So yeah, let's warm ourselves a bit because it's very cold.
No,
No.
no.
Okay, we'll join you.
We all know how to do jumping jacks. Shall we demonstrate? We just go like that. You do your age.
We do jumping jacks to our age, so you count yourselves.
Uh, judging by the age, Dina is 18 then. Thank you, Dina, for the super
Thank you,
warm
Dina, for
up.
the support. Yes.
We should do that when the room is too quiet.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay, the last part of the day will continue with another set of Southeast Asian speakers from throughout the region. Let's welcome on stage Samuel Lim from Studio Lucidus in Singapore, who will share about the evolution of wayfinding in the city-state. Please have a seat on stage. Next up, Fahmi Rosli of BruBah from Brunei Darussalam, who will share his experience of designing a public transport map for Brunei-Muara. And lastly, a big hand for Muhammad Farras Razin of Transport for Padang in Indonesia, who will share about the improvement of Padang's urban transport through wayfinding. Once again, we will do the sessions back to back again. So, speakers, the floor is all yours.
Very cold. Hello, everyone. Wow, it's very cold. Okay. Are we ready? Okay. I was very sleepy also, and I'm also very cold. So I understand how you feel, okay? Bear with us. We're almost there, okay? So I'm Samuel. I run Studio Lucidus. I'm from Singapore. I'm here to talk to you about Qatar and Singapore because I had the privilege of working in both the cities. And give me a moment. Okay, so I mean, as siblings, you will know how Singapore looks like. I'm going to talk a bit more about Qatar. It's a city, I mean, it's a country that's much bigger than Singapore, but Doha, the capital, where I lived in, it's actually about the same size as Singapore, and there's about 3 million people there. So they built the metro very quickly for the World Cup, and it was a great success. And I had the privilege of working with them on the metro system for the World Cup, which I will talk about in a bit. And then back to Singapore, I had the privilege of working with LTA on the metro system. And then later I moved on to the minister's office for Innovation Lab. So Innovation Lab is a system in Singapore where we deliberately put public agencies together so that they have to solve a similar problem together. So over there, I got to see things like how can we design healthcare for elderly outside of the hospital. So we had to work with people who design homes and doctors in the hospitals to how to bring healthcare into homes. And that was quite eye-opening for myself. The jumping jack. Okay, so, and then after that, after Qatar, I came back to Singapore and I joined Endpoint, which is a global wayfinding consultancy where I worked on even more outside of transport projects on wayfinding. Okay, so over there you can see 3 different maps which I designed for Singapore, Qatar, in Doha, and also in Lusail. I'll talk more about them later. I wanted to bring this at the front instead of at the back because I think this is something that as designers and policymakers, architects, whoever you may be, we should all be mindful of because, I'm sorry, the cursor is in the middle and it's very distracting. Can we move the mouse away? Thank you. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, a brilliant solution to the wrong problem can be worse than no solutions at all. So we need to solve the correct problem. Oftentimes, designers or solution makers tend to jump directly to solutioning before understanding the real problem. And I think that's something that we should all be mindful of. And it's something that I always advocate as I work on my projects. So I want to talk about the World Cup because it is something that I think I assume everyone here watches the World Cup or at least know that USA lost yesterday. So woo, thank you, Belgium. I want to talk about the World Cup because I think this year's World Cup is very, very different from the one that I worked on. And I want to show you the power of public transportation when it comes to global events. Because I think this year's 3-country World Cup is very ambitious, but also extremely difficult for visitors and tourists to chase their team along the way. Compared to what we had in Qatar, it's the world's most compact World Cup, meaning the entire game is held in one single city, and you can literally take the metro across stadiums to catch different games on the same day. And this was a very big deal. I didn't know it was a big deal until I went there, and I was like, why? And then I learned about the scale of the games, the amount of people that's going to come, and that's why we started to panic a bit. Because when I went there, we are 6 months away from the opening day, And within 6 months, we had to get the metro system up to speed. So we literally move signs around. We work with the local team to dress up the station and to get the stations ready. So for example, you can see at the top right, the bright pink color signs are done by the local team. They work very closely with the FIFA team. Anything outside of the stadium is under this local team. So within the metro, they then have to coordinate with me and my counterparts on how to direct people within the stations to all the different stadiums. There's 8 of them in total. Then if you look at the entrances, that photo, some of the stations are critical, so we deliberately turn them into exit-only stations and entrance-only stations. So fans will have to walk a little bit further for a different station so that we can manage the crowd better. And we have to put huge signs to make sure people don't enter a station that's designated for exit. Yeah, and then queue totems. So we also have a very unique solution because we want to manage expectations. So these totems are added outside of certain key metro stations to help manage expectations, know how long the queue is, and if the queue is too long, they can then use the map to find the next nearest station that they can walk to. These are only located at stadium stations and critical touristy stations like Souq Waqif if you have been to Qatar. We also take information displays. We place the games of every day and the stations corresponding to each station. And these are also reflected on the trains. So while you're in the train, you will know which station to go to for the respective stadiums. Yeah, and also we updated our web app to bring all of this together and have the information with you on the go. This was a really unique experience, and I want to highlight that Qatar spent a lot of effort on the metro because they know how important public transport is to host such a big global event. And I think it shows the power of public transport, and literally any of our cities could do this as well, right? As long as there's a will and the might to do it. And I think it's a very good blueprint for us to, you don't need the whole of the US to run the World Cup and make people fly all over the place. A city like Qatar's Doha can do it as well. Okay, and then the efforts are not wasted after the game because Qatar actually continued to hold massive games like that. So after that, we actually had Asian games, slightly smaller scale, but also welcoming a lot of visitors. This time round, we didn't spend as much effort to paste the pink signs around because of the scale. So we take advantage of what we've learned from the World Cup and we continue to use digital screens. Like for example, you can see the second picture. We've adopted the metro system map to add the stadiums into the respective stations. So the map itself is now your guide to the stadiums across the whole city. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, okay. So basically, I want to say it's not a one-time thing. I think we can look forward to going back to Qatar for events like that. Okay. Now I want to talk about how, even though Singapore and Qatar are technically quite different culturally, somehow we managed to end up with very similar problems when it comes to wayfinding inside the train stations. So this is SEATRAMS route map, the former route map. You can see this system map itself has 3 different maps combined into one sign. This was a bit unusual because of the way the tram system is designed. And this route map, even though it looks very normal to all of us, it's just a single line. It wasn't really very effective for the SEATRAMS system because of the way SEATRAMS is designed. So this is the new map that I've designed to replace that. The route has a very unique path because of the way the city is designed. So that loop that you see, the rectangular loop, is a one-directional train loop. So it also means that people really need to know where they are going. Otherwise, they will end up taking one big loop for no reason. And that's why I say this map doesn't really translate what we're trying to convey with regards to the system. And that's why that map was launched, because we need people to know where they are exactly on a very complex tram system. Okay. Then the same issue was plaguing the PSDs. So this is the previous design. You can see that there are 2 different loops at the top, even though the same platform actually serves both trains, meaning you don't have to wait at that side for the turquoise line or this side for the orange line. They are all serving the same trains. So what we've done is we've combined them into one map, so it doesn't confuse people for no reason. We just need you to know to hop onto the correct line to bring you to the correct stations accordingly. Okay. So in Singapore, we have the same problem. Northeast Line, if you are familiar, is a very old line. It opened in 2003. Thank you. Yes, so it's a very old line, and I want to highlight here that wayfinding is not just signage. Elements around it can actually affect it as well. So in this case of Northeast Line, right, you notice the light above the sign is always at 2 Pongo. So if you're inside a train arriving at the station, you will always see Pongo. It's every station is Pongo. You can never find the station name. And this has annoyed me like crazy. So the other way around, you will always see Harbourfront. So every station looks like Harbourfront. So it was a very weird problem that is so easy to solve. And because of that problem, later a newer line at Downtown Line, they actually hired a team and made the name super big. So now you can see Telok Ayer in 3 different languages, but you kind of lose the essence of the rest of the line. Meaning, if you step into the platform, all you can see is the station you're at. So while we are waiting for the train, you're like, okay, I'm at Telok Ayer, but where am I going next? So we tried to solve this using the route map by introducing the full line above, separating the station name from the direction of the trains, so people inside the train can see what they are looking for, which is the station. People on the platform can get assurance of where the train is going by using the route map. And this was first launched in Thomson East Coast Line as part of the new sign system, and eventually it got rolled out across the whole network. Okay. Okay, another thing. So in Qatar, right, they are also influenced by, earlier we mentioned about how the European side, they have a different way of doing wayfinding. So in Qatar, way out is used everywhere because of the British. And I found it very confusing because on one hand, you have way out, you have the street name, there's an icon that kind of represents exit, if you know. It's a very European thing to do. A rectangular box plus arrow that turns all over the place. And then exit code. So this exit code was added in preparation of the World Cup before I joined the team. So when I went there, I found out that they just spent money to change all the signs to add exit codes, which is a good thing. But I feel that they missed the opportunity to really clean up the sign, because now there's 4 ways to tell you which exit you're going to, and it's very, very complicated. So because they just changed everything, I didn't have, I didn't think it's practical to change everything again. But I had the chance to fix the tram system because we had the opportunity to relook at the whole thing because of naming rights. Someone decided to change all the station names of the tram system before it fully opens. So that was my golden opportunity to change all the signs. So we took the lessons from the metro to apply onto the tram. And this is how a typical station looked like in Qatar. It's very beautifully designed. And I thought this is an element I want to drag into the sign. So that's why I created the exit code to mimic the architecture. And I use the tram as a place to introduce this icon so that it can influence the metro when the time is right for them to update. And then this is how it looks like with the new exit codes used. If you notice, the previous design didn't really have space to tell you which exit. In fact, it just says way out. But this station's design at the platform, you have to already decide which exit to go to because it brings you to two different parts of the city. And I'm very proud that we managed to add in the exit codes to tell you where to go. Okay, so in Singapore, there's also a similar problem. Okay, I want to talk about asking the right question is because Singapore has a very long history and not everything in Singapore is perfect. Okay, so let's talk about Serangoon, okay? Serangoon, okay, this actually is the reason why I want to fix the system. Okay, so look at the Serangoon sign. This sign alone, right, looks complicated. It looks like, wow, this station, busy station. It is a busy station, it is complicated, but this sign doesn't really help you because how many times do you need to say A, B, C, D, right? Like exit A, C, B, A, D, C, B, A, D, C, B, then suddenly H. So E, F, G is gone from the sign, meaning at this exact point, you are lost. And also, how many times do I need to know that Serangoon Central is served by 4 exits, exactly the same as Upper Serangoon Road? So to me it doesn't help. It just makes people stand there and wonder. And then we have Stadium Station, which is the first sign you see is they thought that was enough. Then it wasn't enough. Then they added one more sign. And then it wasn't enough. Then one more yellow sign because nobody knows. So it's just adding signs, right? And then Outram Park is also not enough. Add more signs. Also, if you notice, Outram Park is FGG, right? The exit codes, if you can see on the side. So A to E doesn't exist somehow, right? And this really annoyed me, okay? So we spent 5 years to fix the system by tearing it out. And then this is the behavior that we see. People standing in front of directional signs blocking the way and wondering how to find their way around. Yeah, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because Singapore had over 20 years of using this system, again, designed by the same company that designed the KL team, Lloyd, right? Okay, don't name names. But anyway, that team did this, right? And in local context, I feel it doesn't really work, okay? And yeah, like these two young couple, like, I mean, we always like to use old people as an excuse, like, oh, the elderly cannot find, the elderly cannot see. No, but the young people also cannot see. And before we even talk about, okay, time's up. I need to speed up. So before we even talk about whether the visually impaired people can find their way around, the everyone also cannot find, okay? So what happened? So we clean up the system by introducing information points, and we brought up a lot of emphasis on the exit codes. So if you notice, I changed exit codes from ABC to numbers because in Asia, we say numbers in multiple languages, right? I can say exit Tiga, you can still follow the sign. But exit A can sound like A can sound like anything for anyone, right? So yeah, that's why number was heavily pushed. Also, if I put 3 to 6 as a group, you know that 4 and 5 is within the 3 to 6. But if I put A to G, good luck, happy singing the song, right? And then the information is heavily moved away so that people don't stand in front of the wrong sign to stare at the sign. We want them to stand at the correct sign, which is the information point, to stare at that instead. Okay? But actually, this whole system came about with a lot of challenges as well. Like I told you, 5 years, right? So initially, we wanted to tackle the most complex stations in Singapore, like the famous Dhoby Ghaut, Chinatown, Outram Park, Buona Vista. All of these stations were plagued by architecture. And it's not purely because of, oh, the architects are not good. It's because of structural challenges due to the track alignment, due to the space around it. So there are a lot of constraints, and we believe that this system would really prove the concept using these complex stations. But the senior management feel that it's a lot easier to explain to the public if we focus on one line, and that's why it was eventually launched at TEL, one new line instead. Then came the curveball. Someone didn't allow us to put information points on the platform, and therefore it's gone, which is now never mind. Okay, then curveball number 2, the signs were expected to be seen in the new line, meaning if it interchanges with your existing station, it's gonna be ignored, which I fought like crazy, and finally we got to see the whole station as one station, and therefore existing stations now get the new signs as well. This is important because you can't navigate 2 stations, I mean, and interchange like as if it's 2 different stations. Yeah, okay. So we managed to win some, we managed to lose some. And what I really want to drive home is that when we design the system, right, we're not trying to just make things look prettier or solve surface problems. What I want to solve is that people can now tell us what's not good. So if you notice, we went from, oh, the station is confusing, the sign is not clear. If you receive this kind of feedback, there's nothing you can do about it because everybody's definition of clear is different. But what we want to get people to say things is like, oh, I can't make any effective decisions at a certain point. Then what can we do about that? And the signs are contradicting. What can we do about that? Because if you know anything about Singaporeans, we love to complain, right? I can't stop the complaining, but I can help Singaporeans understand what to complain about. So now, with the new system, if you notice, it's very, very safeguarded because we don't want the system to go back to what you saw earlier, full of content, right? And instead of complaining about very vague things, we can say things like, oh, this worked in this place, can we just repeat it in another place? So at least the government knows what to do, right? And yeah, I want to say that our system can help drive the conversation as well. So back to the curveball we said earlier, right? So when we launch on TEL, remember I wanted to kind of launch it across the nation. If the system is really good, if people appreciate it, it will eventually be rolled out to other stations, which is what's happening right now. So you can see it eventually rolling out very slowly across all stations, and new stations are now adopting the new system. Then the second one is, remember, the information point is gone from the platform. It became the single most complained about thing in Singapore. So now they know, oh, I was right, told you so, right? So, but yeah, it's not too late because I actually hid some signs. I deliberately planted some signs that they can take advantage of to bring back information to the platform. So it's not too late. It's just I can't win everything. I would rather roll out the system and then let the public tell back what they really need. Okay? And that's what we are going for. Instead of people standing there, we want people to stand there so that they don't block the way. Okay? Knowing where to get information, including your phones. Yeah. Okay. And okay, just to pitch my services. Okay. I launched Lucidus, right, because I noticed that this kind of conversation is very hard to have. As a designer, yes, you can advocate for your design, but I realized on the opposite end, you also need someone to be able to understand what you're advocating for. And that's why I launched Lucidus, because I want to work with architects and developers to really understand their problem on hand and understand where they can even start solving the wayfinding problem. And not just, oh, we need new science, we need more science, we need bigger science. Exactly what are we trying to solve? And this is why this exists. So if you're interested, we can collaborate. Thank you. We take question now or later?
No, we carry over with the rest of the speakers.
Okay,
first.
sure. Sorry,
So
thank
next
you.
up, it's going to be Fahmi.
Oh, sorry again.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fahmi Rosli, and I redesigned Brunei-Muara's bus map. But before I get to my presentation, I do have a confession to make. I never stepped foot in my own public transport system ever before. Never, never, never. Shame, shame, you know? But it's not just me. I'm not special. A lot of other Bruneians feel the same way. They never even gave it a second chance. But so that's when I realized Brunei's a little bit of an outlier. Oh. Hey. Okay, yeah, Brunei's a little bit of an outlier. Can you guys see the number on the left over there? That's our population, 450,000. That's like less than 500,000 compared to Singapore, 6 million over there. We're quite small, despite being the second smallest country in ASEAN. There's a number on the right. Can you guys guess what that number stands for? Number of cars? Correct, that is number of cars. We are first in something. We are the first in the amount of cars per 1,000 people. Coming up next is Malaysia with 490 and Indonesia 99. Singapore is 211 over 1,000 if I remember right. So, you know, it's a little bit weird. Yeah, but because I think Brunei is a little bit of a car-dependent country, to say the least. And I'm blessed to have a family that has multiple cars, so I never really had too much of a problem, like borrowing a car or anything. But then I saw this comment on Reddit. Oh, crap. Sorry. Yeah, it's a Reddit comment. Sorry, I had to reenact the Reddit comment because I couldn't find it again. But this family only has one car. Let's say it's just a 4-person family, right? So the parents go somewhere, suddenly the kids are trapped. They can't really go anywhere. So I'm like, we're so dependent on private transport. Why don't we just look at public transport? Isn't that an option? So I kind of like research myself. I tried to Google, what does Brunei bus map look like? Like, why don't we use it more often? And this is what I see. Give it a second. Dramatic pause, right? So this is the original bus map. This is designed in 2013. It is an eyesore, isn't it? The readability issue is crazy. Can you see the blue lines over there? I can't even tell where it ends up. So the arrows against the green, I can't even tell where it's gonna go. So you can get lost in this. This is a problem that I have. I can't really fix where the stops are or anything, but I can try to fix like how you present information, right? When I saw this map for the first time, it felt like this. It felt like an Interstellar movie, bros. I can't. One wrong move and you're lost. You're gone. So, but the map isn't just like the only thing. It's just one piece of the puzzle, right? So I went a little bit deeper and I tried to role play a little bit. I'm never gonna use the bus, probably. Maybe, who knows? But next step, try to go to the bus stop. And this is what I see. Do you guys see that? There is the bus sign, and this is a nicer one, by the way. There's like some bus stops that's just barely open, no shade, no nothing. You're not gonna wait over there. But this is an example of a better bus stop. And those boxes over there, they're missing something. I'm pretty sure you guys can tell what you're missing, but Bruneians, we don't use public transport. So I was like, hey, what do these boxes mean? These are supposed to be the numbers, the bus numbers that go through, right? It's missing. So anyone who comes to this bus stop, they will never find out. We've had tourists waiting hours for a bus that never came by. It's real, it's true. So I thought that's not good, is it? It's not accessible. It's not accessible. Wait, sorry. It's not just accessible. Yeah, forget about disabled people. I'm sorry. It's not as accessible to even abled people. It sucks. So yeah, the best way to complain is to make things better. That's what I read recently. So I decided to do something about it. Say hello to BruBah. To our Malaysian friends, do you guys know what BruBah stands for? What does it stand for? To change. Yeah, let's go. The second meaning for me, it's Bah means kind of like let's go. So let's go Brunei, kind of. So I thought that was a cool name. So BruBah. Thank you. It's just a name, chill. Yeah, I'm a creative designer by trade, so I kind of know how to use a tool, so I can make it look slightly better compared to the one you just saw earlier. So yeah, this is the redesign, heavily inspired by this guy over here. I just found out. So yeah, I'm not an urban planner. I'm not I'm not well versed in this type of thing, wayfinding. So I just took whatever I thought, hey, that looks kind of cool. I just slapped it on. So here we have the bus map kind of redesigned in the style of Singapore. I don't know if these stops actually make sense, but at least it has some information. It has information like a QR code where to find the information at least, where to complain, where you're heading to, it doesn't look like you're trapped somewhere. But this is just a map. Let's continue on to the next one. It's mockups. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it. So yeah, I kind of made a mock-up of like trying to see what it would look like if it's more fulfilled, right? So yeah, you at least know when the bus will be coming, where to probably charge your card, and where you end up. These information is basic, but we just kind of it's just oversight, isn't it? We never even considered this. So, like I said, I wasn't really an urban planner. I wasn't trying to build a perfect map. If you decide to use this my map for reals, you'll end up missing, okay? Don't use it. Please don't use it. So my project wasn't really to fix it. It was to start a conversation, right? And I think it worked a little bit too well because it went viral in Brunei. Even I think some parts of KL as well. I'm not sure if anyone has seen it. Yeah, so thank you. But yeah, 6,000 shares, a lot of views, whatever lah. But yeah, it went viral. Now I'm happy to say that there's been conversations happening more online, people wanting to try, and it did work. I kind of convinced 12 people who never even considered it to try it out now. And thank you so much. That is my project, BruBah. My name is Fahmi Rosli. Thank you.
Okay, last one, Farras from Padang.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. So I'm Razin. I'm representative transport for Padang. So before this presentation, I'm actually no background from urban transport or like civil engineering. Okay, so okay, next. So Padang actually it has located in West Sumatra in Indonesia. It framed in mountain and Indian Ocean. So actually Padang it has bus intercity rail, bus reputation called Trans Padang, and minivans called Angkot, but didn't have any information about mass transportation. So sorry of transport. So sorry of transport for Padang. Maulana launched the public transit map in 2018 because it was frustration because the Padang didn't have any at all about transportation map. And then, so in SEATRAMS, wait. So in SEATRAMS in 2024, yeah, Yasin actually. So he is on assignment in Padang, and then I meet him and I saw the chance, and then I'm saying Padang zero wayfinding at all. Why put the map? And then he say yes. At the night, we print up the map, and then 22 bus Padang stop. And then the Padang city government notice, but you know the city map is actually not readable at all. But they launched in 2% in 2024 and 2025. But we didn't give up. So we learned from Jakarta and Yogyakarta because they applied the Wayfinding and actually yeah in MRT Jakarta MRT LRT or Jakarta Trans Jogja. So we launched at 2 version. So in version 1 in 2024, in version 1 actually is too many information and then too complicated, but we upgraded in 2025 very simple and standard bus stop signs. So we asked in Instagram Transport for Padang, and then many followers in Transport for Padang and said yes, 90%, but it is not rigidly survey, but actually we heard that the commuters we need the wayfinding. So 3 lessons from the road. One is action-based process. Number 2, less information, more clarity. And number 3, ask the people who use it. And then what's next? So we expand standardized transport signage of every Trans Padang, not just the pilot stops. Number 2, formalize wayfinding design of ADTP ongoing partnership with the state government, and then keep listening. So terima kasih, it means thank you in Minang language. So okay, thank you.
That was it, the last of our speakers today. And of course, we will be opening a question and answer session. So please, ladies and gentlemen, yes.
Speaker just now when you rerouted your A to numbers, right? From alphabet to numbers.
Yes.
Not so sure in Singapore if your line is like for in Malaysia, certain lines has numbers. Like the MRT has a number, a code number, KTM has a code number and all that. So how do you manage to, not confuse people between the line number and the exit number instead of using the alphabets?
Okay. Is it possible to show the slides again with a picture? It will be easier. So in Singapore, we have, that's also part of the change. we used to have full names for the lines. For example, North-South line, East-West line, and then eventually it became Thompson East Coast line. So I don't know in the future how long the name can be, right? So that was part of the change. We wanted to shorten it to the station codes. So if you notice at the side, right, all along we have station codes like DT18 for Telok Ayer, right? And we took this DT and this shape because this is already there. It's been there for like 10 years. So I wanted to emphasize this design across the whole system. So when people see this shape and the color, they will think of the line name. So if, I think the next slide you should be able to see. Yeah, here. So you see NEL, that's now the line identifier. It used to be one bar with Northeast line. We've truncate that into this shape for people to identify as the MRT. So that's how we differentiate. So for station code, the same shape is consistent. That shape DT18, I think. Ooh. Yeah, DT18, this shape is what differentiates from the exit numbers. Yeah, so we use the color and the shape of the icon to differentiate the function of each things. Yeah, does that answer your question? And also the yellow that you see, the exit code, right? It will never be used on a line. It's reserved for exits only. Yeah. 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 In fact, we have CRL coming up, and then there are 3 more lines planned, right? No matter what, they cannot use yellow. That was a deliberate decision. In fact, how we arrive at yellow is also because previous 6 lines are not yellow, so we had more confidence to push for this. Yeah, and that shape represents the exit. So if you can tell, the distinct shape differences is what we use to distinctly identify the different. Because we don't want to make people think that all of this sign points you to the emergency exit. Yeah, it's a fire code thing. In Hong Kong, you will see that the green is actually used because it's designed. In Hong Kong, the emergency exit is deliberately signed together with it. Yeah, but for us, it's retrofitting the old stations is impossible, so we have to distinguish it. Yeah.
Hello, I also want to ask Samuel more about the process on the design, from the planning to design, from surveying and what data collection approach did you do until you come up with those design ideas, and also what benchmarking do you use until you come up with those design ideas, and from all those process in Singapore and also Qatar, what consideration do you use to apply to different cities in Singapore and also Qatar?
Okay, thank you for the question. Thank you. So for Singapore, right, to give you some context, the reason why I was even looped in to redesign the system is because I did a thesis on the system back in uni. So that forms quite a big depth of research that I had already. That was a baseline. But when I joined LTA, I needed to prove my theory in uni. So we partnered with NTU to do eye tracking and heat mapping. They tested the old signs and they tried to redesign the signs just to prove that information overload doesn't, no matter how you redesign it, it's still is very slow in response time, and basically people take a long time to make decisions, and that's not the point of directional signs. Directional signs are supposed to give you assurance. It's supposed to give you a quick nugget along the way. It's not supposed to give you all the answers. And so NTU helped us a lot. And then we also went, we brought elderlies into the station to do a testing, journey mapping testing. So we have questionnaires. So we basically, like for example, we start at one station and then we'll say, look for this landmark. And then we'll see how long they take to walk us to the landmark. So I think it was about 20 to 30 elderlies. And then every one elderly has one LTA staff to follow. We're not supposed to help, we're just observing. So for example, we will note things like, oh, she stood there for very long. So we'll just take note. Or she went there and then she U-turned. we'll take note of all of these kind of interactions so that later we will ask, how come you seem to be very confused earlier? Then that's where the insights will come out. Because most of the time she will be like, I can't even see where the sign is, or I don't think the answer is on the sign because it's too complicated for her to read. It's this kind of insights that we want to tease out, and not things like, oh, I cannot find my landmark. Because, okay, if you can't find your landmark, then what can you do? Oh, I will ask someone. Yeah, things like that. So the shadowing of the elderly really boosts our confidence a lot because they proved a lot of our theory. Yeah, and from our perspective as well. Then one more testing. We tested the colors as well. So we went to the station to, quite interestingly, we printed fake version of the new signs, meaning the information is correct, it's just in the new design, and then we pasted it in an old station. Then we just stood there. We wanted to ask people for opinion, but everybody thought we are selling insurance. Then they were like, no, no. Then I'm like, no, not LTA, complain. Then it's like, okay, then they complain. Then, but while we saw people interacting with it, right, the most interesting part was actually daily commuters were looking at our sign and then finding their way around. Like they were already using it. And that was super encouraging. And then one more test we did was literally white, yellow. So we tested with light blue, light green, all the other baby colors that are not line colors. And everybody is just like, ah, yeah, it's obviously yellow, right? Like it's so obvious that it's so contrasty. It's the most obvious one. So then again, gave us confidence. Yeah. So basically, we just keep asking the public because Singapore government loves to listen to the public. Loves. Yeah, which is also how we end up like that because everybody wants something on the sign. Everybody wants their name on the sign. And then like that, lor. So now nobody can ask. It's like you. So now we can very clearly tell, right? If something is missing, the problem is the yellow sign in the back. The information board is not complete. The information board is outdated. So the operators can now focus on updating one sign, and we can ensure that the entire station's information is consistent. The previous design is like they can update one sign, and then somewhere hidden is missing, and it's always inconsistent. It's always untrusted. But we want people to know that as long as you approach that sign, you will be able to find your answer. And if you can't find it, you can complain about it. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Oh, hi. I have a question for the second presenter.
Okay.
Thank you. It was a very entertaining presentation. My question is just simple. Because right now, in the context of the city that I live in, we are trying to rationalize the bus stops, the loading and unloading stations. I don't know if you've had this issue in Brunei, wherein people don't have like designated stops, right? So what they do is they just stop everywhere. So my question is, how did you identify the stops that you placed on your map? Is the first question. And then were there type of like public backlash after you created a new stop, or is the drivers following the stops that you created, or are they still doing improper loading or unloading? Was there changes, or how did it go for Brunei?
It's pretty bad actually, because we have an issue of people just dropping off anywhere they want, and even worse because I think you guys call it first mile, last mile, right? We don't really have good access to that, so the drivers themselves take them to the exact house. It's pretty crazy because Bruneians know it's unreliable. They don't know when the bus will come because they skipped to put someone at their house. And as a result, to effectively use our transport system, you will need to have the personal number of the bus driver. It's next level, right? Sorry, what was your next second question?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You already gave out the feedback on how did it go underground, so it's still a bit of a work to be done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that one.
You're welcome.
Okay, last question.
I feel like what we're missing from the conversation is about how Samuel actually got into wayfinding in general. Because like in your slide, you didn't mention about your journey into becoming a wayfinder, right? I feel like you should actually like tell more about how you became a wayfinder in the first place. Because like I feel like it's a story about how you met, how actually for both you and also Transport for Padang, about how like your enthusiasm got turned into actually taking public action. I feel like, do you have a short? I feel like you have a story to share about how you got into wayfinding. Can you share with us actually?
Thank you for asking. I'm actually more interested in the Farras one.
Yeah,
I'll let him answer first, okay?
all three of you can answer very briefly, I think.
Okay. So when I start the wayfinding, I just learn the from Jakarta and Yogyakarta, and then I'm from like do you know pedoman wayfinding from DKI Jakarta, and I'm learn symbol, and I'm replicate it, not make it at all, but I replicate it, and then I'm applied in the Padang, and because so it takes like exhausting, right, to make the wayfinding, but the wayfinding the wayfinding make I make the wayfinding so did the too easy, and then easy scan, easy read, and then didn't many like too many too many things to didn't think many minutes. Okay, that's it. So anybody question?
Yeah, you can continue with your own story of how you eventually go into wayfinding.
Sorry for my informality. I really like. I just decided to
Please
try.
relax. Please relax.
It's just me trying to like raise awareness. I'm lost. Even going to KLI from what was it, KLIA to KL Central, I already took the wrong train. I'm that bad. Okay, it was right next to each other. Yeah. I don't know if I'm into it, but I could see how useful it can be, like the invisible forces that drive you to where you need to be, right? I think it's quite interesting. Yeah.
For me, I'm actually very lucky. There were a few things that happened at the same time that allowed me to be in this. The first one was my uni. By year 2, I needed to find a topic to research on. And I wanted to prove that design is important in our daily lives. So I did a quick survey. And shockingly, right, 90% of the surveyors tell me that they don't interact with design on a daily basis. This was about over 11 years ago. So I was like, the moment you wake up, you stop the alarm on your phone, that's design, right? And I was shocked that people around me in Singapore don't know that design is literally everywhere. And I feel very strongly that I want to make design important. Then at the same time, I was going for my internship. And then at this station, which is Outram Park, every day without fail, I will see people go up an escalator and come back down the same escalator every day. And it's not even like, oh, it's always the elderly, it's always the kids, it's everyone, tourists, every skin color, they will do the same mistake at the same platform in Outram Park. And then I was like, oh, this sign got problem, need to fix. So every one of us assume that it's just one sign. Then I realized, whoa, it's a whole system. Then I had to propose to my prof that it is a problem and I want to discover what's the problem. And that became my whole research paper. And then that happened. And then we just launched it as a part of my graduation thesis. Then I was very, very lucky because someone who eventually became my future boss, he found it, he found my paper, he forwarded it to LTA, and he's like, LTA, y'all need help. And then LTA was like, hey, let's chat. Then they offered me the job. So it was like a series of very lucky coincidences that allowed me to be here. So I'm very thankful. Then I eventually joined the ministry of the InnoLab, right? The InnoLab guy is the guy, I mean, my boss. He's the one who sent the thing. So eventually it's like one big circle. I met him. So yeah, anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, don't worry, just put your work out there. If it's good, people will get you.
One big circle line.
Circle line opening problem.
Okay, that was it. The last of our speakers. Give another big round of applause for them. And of course, you may return to your seats. I will pass on the mic to Adrian, who will brief us for tomorrow's walking tour and also guide us through the harvesting of ideas for our first day. So please, Adrian.
Yes. Thank you, Daffa. Again, applause for everyone for surviving for the first day. I hope everyone is not all too tired. Oh, you must be all tired, but hope with all of the sessions that we have heard today, for those who are already in the lines of wayfinding, I hope everyone is getting connected to each other, because that's one of our main goals. We have like the designers of the map from Manila, we have designers of the maps from Brunei and from Singapore, and I think this is the first time everyone met each other. So for us, it's a very wonderful and joyous time, and I hope this would also be a start for much longer collaboration between everyone, maybe especially in Kuala Lumpur, because that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. But before that, we're gonna do a bit of harvesting of the ideas, or maybe a lesson learned or takeaways that you guys have basically maybe heard or received or passed through your ears and go out from the other from today's session. There will be another Mentimeter. We will still use the same link as the one that we take this morning. Just wait for our team to pop it up. But anyhow, just before the Mentimeter show up, I just wanted to also show that there's a table on the other side of the room. Maybe you guys have already seen it. This is basically our small museum for these 3 days. It's showcasing everything that everyone that brought in terms of wayfinding. So maybe I will just start. Just gonna go a bit of an overview to see what's in the stable before we go on that. The first one, I just wanted to promote the maps that we've created. So it's all in all of your bags. So this is a map of Kuala Lumpur public transport map that our team from Transport for Jakarta is designing. We actually designed this because we're happy that finally you open Shah Alam line. Yay! We've actually planning to go to Shah Alam since last year, but finally it opened, so finally had the time. Then hopefully after this we can go there to see, to go. Yes, it's free. Yay! Please do, if you